I'd like it if Nevada could come up. So, Michael?
Good morning. Thank you for hosting us. Some basic Nevada facts and figures. Roughly about 3 million population, 10,000 or 110,000 square miles. So roughly the 7th largest state and not exactly the 7th largest population. So 2 million almost licensed drivers. DOT has about 1,800 state employees. A couple of photos of chip seal. So the preservation treatments we use pretty much uses the same ones that the rest of the group uses. Our staple, the one we use the most, is the chip seal. We do have an aggressive 3R program for interstate and U.S. highway. Pretty much the rest of our system is mostly chip seal with some scrub chip seal. We do use all of those treatments though at some time or another. Again, our base, that's pretty much our staple treatment is the chip seal. We self-perform the bulk of our chip seals. Our goal is half contractor, half self-perform. Given our focus on 3R is on the interstate and the U.S. highways, we've been focusing self-performed work outside of the urban areas. So if we have work that's reasonably close to an urbanized area like Reno, Elko, Las Vegas, we will be contracting as much as we can. Outside of that, we're going to be mostly self-performing. I think this past year was an anomaly. We self-performed almost 400 miles, roughly 85% of our chip seals, and about 15%, roughly 80 miles, was contracted out. We were asked about some pavement stats. So we classify our roads category 1 through 5. Category 1 is an interstate or control of access. Category 2 is more of a principal arterial. Category 3 is more of minor arterial or a higher volume rural collector. Category 4 is a collector or local or non-classified street. Category 5 is just low volume or is low priority for whatever reason. It's more chip seal. So the anticipated service life, we're pretty aggressive with the anticipated service lives we expect from our treatments. And the numbers we see, which appear to be hard to read there, the numbers we have are absolutely high-end estimates. We may not get all of that anticipated life cycle. So crack fill, we think we can get at the high end 7 years. Fog seal, we think we can get at the high end 3 years, maybe 4 years. Scrub seal, we think we can get roughly 4 years. Slurry seal, 4 to 5 years. Chip seal, maybe 5 years. We also list a risk factor. The risk factor is more agency experience and familiarity with the treatment. Again, our staple treatment is the chip seal. We've got that. We've got that down pretty good. When we put a chip seal down, it's typically low risk because we're pretty good at it. Some of the other treatments, we're not as familiar with them. So as we deploy some of the other treatments, or some of the failures are because of our lack of experience with the treatment rather than the product itself. Or chip seal. So this was a test site that we did. On the left is double chip with a 3/8 chip, and on the right is a single course of half-inch chip. We did this because we like to use the 3/8 chip on the lower roads or lower volume roads, areas with low snow load, and bike routes. The bicyclists do not like, I think we all have that same experience, they don't like the half-inch chip. We get a lot of public complaints about those. So our goal is to minimize public complaints, of course, in order to keep this product in our toolbox, because it's just, for us, it's an excellent strategy, especially since we have so much limited funds for overlays. Our 3R program covers roughly 1 to 2% of our system every year. So that puts quite a bit of reliance on chip seal for pavement preservation in Nevada. Innovations, we've been experimenting with the coated chip for the last few years. It's a hot applied chip with the terminal blend asphalt rubber, and we've had really good luck with that. We've been experimenting with the modified slurry seal using polymer modified emulsion. We've had limited success with that. The ultra thin asphalt concrete surface course with the Nova chip We've been using some of that for the past few years. Again, we've had good success. So this is the hot applied chip seal. We've had good success in rural Nevada. The one on the top right is in Fallon. On the lower left is in Wellington, mostly rural Nevada, where we've been experimenting with this. Our quality assurance program, so we have heavy reliance on self-performed chip seal. So given our high turnover rate, something I think we've heard from every state here, that's been a challenge. So our field supervisors typically plan the strategy. Our strategy is then vetted by a lab and vetted through the computer models. And then we typically hop in a van with we're a centralized agency, so the bulk of the decisions come from our headquarters office. So we have headquarters staff, maintenance staff, and district admin staff, and we'll actually tour all of the projects planned for the next year, and which is good because not only do we actually interact with the headquarters and the maintenance folks, we actually get to see our roads and talk about some of the other challenges we're having with our roads too. So then we vet through the van tour, and then our field guys will plan and implement the strategy, and then we'll have regional supervisors again monitoring with quality control to make sure that we're getting the product that we're paying for. We do have aggressive testing of the products for our self-performed work. The contract work, it's the standard traditional contract administration where we train our inspectors, and then our inspectors do the traditional testing and contract management. Certification, NDOT started experimenting with the certification program that came out of this group here. In 2016, we had a pilot program where we aggressively ran engineers, inspectors, and some limited field staff through the program. We are requiring, as of 2017, that all work that's contracted out for chip seal, the chip seal must be performed by must have certified staff on hand. By 2018, so in 2017, we allowed the contractor to successfully bid and awarded, provided they got the TSP2 certification before beginning work. Starting in 2018, we now require the TSP2 certification before even bidding the work. There aren't that many contractors in Nevada, so that was a pretty easy requirement for the contractors to fulfill. We haven't heard any complaints. I think that's been well received. With NDOT staff, there's some anomalies on there that I can't explain, but this is what came out. We've trained 15 staff and 9 successfully certified with chip seal. The slurry, which we don't understand, 14 staff were trained and 17 staff were certified. And they stand by those numbers. We did get some complaints from some of our staff, though, on the heavy reliance on computer-based training. There was, especially our field staff, was requesting more classroom time for that training, so we're going to figure out how to make that happen for them. We do know that our director is working with UNR and with this group to try and come up with a more regular, easily redelivered classroom-style training. So we'll see where that goes. PCC, we reported on a dowel retrofit quite some time ago. We have now successfully done dowel retrofit on all PCC paving that could benefit from such a treatment. Our old strategy for PCC was set it and forget it, and that's clearly not working. So we are slowly increasing our diamond grind program. The spall repair strategies and crack fill strategies, those are areas we're struggling with. We are experimenting with different products. We're struggling with workmanship. We're struggling with product type. We're making progress, but we're looking for help. So I know we're meeting with some of the vendors here are trying to help us out, and we're going to actually spend some time with Caltrans within the next year. They've offered to help us out too. But if there's any thoughts or ideas on reliable spall repair or crack fill strategies. The crack fill product, we actually bought a gray product, hoping it would stay the right color. It turned black as soon as we put it down, and we had the same success rate. It just hasn't been holding like we have been hoping. Experimenting again with a panel replacement program with AC product on some of the higher volume roads that are scheduled for reconstruct. In the past, we have removed failed panels and replaced with an AC with an asphalt concrete product, simply to buy time because we can't afford to leave the freeway closed for the length of time for the concrete to cure. That hasn't worked great, but it's been adequate. We're experimenting with that one more time. And I think that's all I got.
Jim Weston, Washington State DOT. Question in regard to your panel replacements using the AC. Have you done much with not only the rapid setting concrete or tried that as well, or like a 4x4 type concrete where it sets up quick, and what kind of success have you got out of those?
We did try a little bit in the Truckee River Canyon on I-80, and we actually had really good success with that product. We also tried preformed panels and had some moderate success with that. I'm not exactly sure why we're choosing asphalt concrete for these. I'm the wrong salesman for that strategy.
Mike Santee out of the Transportation Department. Since we're your neighbors, we kind of keep track of what you guys do too, but like everybody else here. You do a lot of chip seals. Do you guys have a top end ADT or some kind of limit? Do you chip seal your interstates, and how do you cut that off? Or
our department saves that treatment pretty much for rural roads. I know that our neighbors in Idaho successfully chip seal Urban Street, at least they used to. I don't know. I think you guys still do. We would like to chip seal freeway. We are starting that debate again. There's significant resistance against that. There is huge resistance against chip sealing the freeway. We did, because of our funding challenges with our 3R program, we did experiment with a slightly higher volume road in Washoe County, which is pretty much the county that has Reno, and it's the road between Reno and Carson City. It's a secondary road. We did do a chip seal. We struggled. Do we self-perform it because we think we can go slower and profit is less important, and what's more important is going slow and taking care of the customer? Or do we contract it out and hand off the liability at the same time? We did contract out eventually. We ultimately contracted out the chip seal. We received many complaints, and I don't know how that's going to help or hurt our cause as we try to do more urban-ish areas. We want to do the more urban areas, just like you suggested, because we simply don't have the money for the 3R, but we don't have the stomach for the complaints from the motorists, cracked windshields, et cetera, and our bicycle advocates are extremely engaged and extremely active.
Yeah, we do the rural interstates where we shift traffic, the urban.
Wouldn't think of it? Yeah. We have a segment of rural freeway where we're trying. We may or may not succeed with that strategy.
At one time you had a substantial CIR program. Whatever happened to that? You did a lot of cold in place recycling 5 or 10 years ago.
I know we struggled with, it didn't work well with high truck volumes, and maybe Charlie Pan right behind you can help me with that answer. But I know from I'm with the maintenance side, we struggled pretty badly with truckloads on the cold in place recycle.
This is Charlie Pan from Nevada DOT. Basically what we have done is we pretty much cold in place recycle most of the candidate we have now. So that's why we slowed down a little bit. We did a couple CIR projects for the past two years. We done any CIR interstate since 5 years ago, but sooner or later, depending on funding situation, depending on the strategy, we may start CIR the road that has been CIR before. So the strategy is still in the toolbox. We haven't given it up.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.